In the early 1600s, during the 17th century, long before European colonization reached the heart of southern Africa, a powerful clan began a divine journey that would reshape history. They were the Singo, also known as Vhavenḓa, guided by the voice of the great god Mwali and armed with a sacred relic, Ngomalungundu, the magical drum. This drum, carried by 6 Vandalamu or Vhavenḓa men, was never to touch the ground. It was their weapon, their shield, and their divine sign of authority. The Singo were led by a powerful king, Chilume, also known as Rachilumera. His royal kraal, Matungun, sat nestled in the vast lands of Central Africa near the Great Lakes, present-day Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda, and Tanzania. Mwali instructed Chilume to head south, a pilgrimage into lands unknown, with the promise of conquest, divine favor, and a destined kingdom. Their journey brought them first to Karanga, where they met the powerful Karanga ruler, Tshikovhi. Chilume offered peace, sending emissaries to assure Tshikovhi that they meant no harm. But Tshikovhi, having heard of Ngomalungundu's destructive power, grew fearful. Instead of accepting peace, he attacked Chilume's messengers. This was seen as an act of war. Chilume responded with divine wrath. Guided by Mwali and the power of Ngomalungundu, the Singo launched an attack. Tshikovhi's warriors were crushed. Tshikovhi himself was captured and brought before Chilume. In fear and repentance, he begged for mercy. Chilume released him, but back in his own kingdom, Tshikovhi was not spared. Grieving women whose husbands and sons had died in battle murdered him. Thus, the tale of the lion Tshikovhi ended with a whisper, "Tshikovhi ndi ndau khulu, yo vhulawa nga vhasadzi." Rather than continue their journey, the Singo settled in Karanga. They took wives from the Karanga and Vhanyai people and began to build new lives. This displeased Mwali, who had commanded a southward exodus. As punishment, lions descended upon the Singo camps, slaying men, women, and children. Even royal blood was not spared. In desperation, Chilume climbed Mount Mvumera to seek forgiveness. He never returned. Soon after, Mwali summoned the high priest Evochipe to the sacred mountain. He announced that Chilume would not return because the people had disobeyed his commands. A new king was chosen, Karanga, Chilume's only surviving son, and so the sacred journey resumed. They moved further south, reaching the banks of the great Vhambedzi River. But before crossing, tragedy struck again. Karanga died of malaria. The people mourned. Mwali appointed Wami, Karanga's son, as the new king. Wami led the Singo across the river into the lush lands that would become Venda. There, at the foot of Mount Rwandari, Wami established the first Singo capital, Zata. Wami's rule was marked by expansion. The Singo, driven by prophecy and the power of Ngomalungundu, subdued many Vangona clans. One of the most powerful leaders, Rapuru, was defeated. A new kingdom was born. Wami was succeeded by his son, Dimanika, a skilled hunter with a deep connection to the spirit world. One day, Dimanika ventured into the wild with his 2 faithful dogs. He never returned. The dogs did, and a search party followed them to a cave sealed with large rocks. From within, Dimanika's voice echoed. He told them to stop. That would be his grave. No one should ever disturb it. He forbade people from eating fruit from Mount Rwandari and gave instructions that the mountain would be a royal burial ground. Their royal capital moved to Zata too, and Dimanika was succeeded by Gyambeu. The Singo, now strong and numerous, set out to conquer the remaining Vhavenḓa clans. They marched toward the mysterious Vhavatsindi of Chiheni and Chiava. Gyambeu underestimated them. He left Ngomalungundu hanging on a tree and fought without it. disaster followed. Ngomalungundu fell to the ground and cracked. The Singo were defeated for the first time. Dyambeu was slain. The Vhavenḓa seized Ngomalungundu and took it to their kraal. In their grief, the Singo cried out to Mwali. The great god responded by giving Tshikovhi, the chief priest, a golden pipe with divine power. Tshikovhi led a new army into battle. The Singo returned to Chiheni, defeated the Vhavenḓa, and reclaimed Ngomalungundu. Their power was restored. Though they had conquered, the Singo were transformed. Their language and culture merged with the Vangona and Vhambedzi clans they had defeated. Over time, they became one. The Vhavenḓa, the descendants of conquerors, adopted the tongue of the conquered. Much of Vhavenḓa vocabulary today comes from the original Tingona, the language of the early inhabitants. Ngomalungundu, the divine drum, faded into legend. Some say it vanished with King Thohoyandou, who crossed the river and disappeared. Others claim a drum resembling Ngomalungundu rests in a museum in Harare, its powers dormant but never forgotten. Thus ends the story of the Singo, a tale of divine destiny, conquest, punishment, forgiveness, and cultural rebirth. They came from the north, led by the voice of their god, and became one with the land and people of Venda, shaping a legacy that endures to this day.